What's up, hobby friends, and welcome back to Paint Bravely, the podcast where you can find a little bit of encouragement, discover new ways to make your hobby more fun. This is more fun. And most importantly, learn to paint bravely, speak bravely, and do all those kind of things. So, welcome to the podcast today. Got some good stories to tell, some hobby stuff to talk about, a few fun things. Brent's got his Mountain Dew. I think we're ready to go. But of course, before that,
we're ready.
Yeah, Brent, what have you been up to since the last time we recorded? Which wasn't super long ago, I think.
No, it wasn't super long ago. So we've got two different little bits of travel here. So I'm going to Denmark for reasons tomorrow, and you just got back from the Las Vegas Open. So actually, you have more to talk about today. What?
That's fair.
Why don't you start in? Tell us how that trip was.
I will. LVO was awesome. If you don't know, Las Vegas Open is a big, it's a Warhammer tournament. A bunch of tabletop games are there. Conquest was there. Star Wars, all these awesome tabletop games. There's a huge vendor hall, a bunch of painting classes. I specifically flew down to kind of do nothing. I had no plans, but
nice.
But someone reached out to me a few days before the actual convention, and they're like, hey, I was going to take John and Scott's advanced 2-day painting class and had a medical problem, couldn't go. And he's like, you can just take my spot. I was planning on just busting in the classroom and sitting down anyways.
Yeah.
But I didn't have to.
Well, man, get well soon.
Yeah.
And thanks for sending Casey to a painting class. He could learn to be an advanced painter here soon.
I mean, probably if I applied myself or something like that, you know. But I did end up going in and hanging out for basically the last 3.5 hours of a 2-day course. And I painted one of Scott's Duchess models. I shouldn't say that exactly. I painted the face of the model. And you can see it in the post that he made about it on Instagram. It's off in the corner. It's just a head on a stick instead of all these really nicely done.
Did everyone?
Yeah.
I didn't notice that part of it. Yeah, I saw the picture. I love that from painting classes where they put all the models from all the students on a table and they get a couple of nice images, and normally enough of them look good, so it seems like all of them look really good, and then there's a lot of bright colors in there. And anyway, this batch looked nice. So congratulations to everybody who painted a Duchess in Las Vegas last week.
Yeah,
2 weeks ago.
It seemed like a really good class, and I mean the quality from all of the people who are in there was pretty high. And there were people who only been painting for a couple of years. Basically start of COVID, they're like, I'm going to get into mini painting. And now they're really good at it. Yeah. It's pretty insane, actually.
Like John.
Yeah. Like John. Exactly. Yeah. But yeah, so first thing, of course, I crashed in on that class technically with permission. So I do thank you for that. I was planning on sending the Duchess model that I did take to him. I'm going to get in touch pretty soon. I haven't forgotten. And I have a Duchess model for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very, very generous. And do seriously get well soon.
Yeah.
Sorry you had to miss that.
Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully next year, though. Because they definitely had a good turnout. And I would imagine they're going to do it again. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, so did that and then kind of wandered around, met a lot of cool people, talked about Paint Bravely, the podcast, with a few people, and YouTube stuff. That was pretty nice. Went out to dinner with a few people, John and Scott, and then Monument Hobbies owner Jason and Jen. So we went and had some fancy pants steaks, which was pretty cool.
Oh, you're doing business deals with Monument Hobbies now?
I mean, I can't talk about that.
Huh.
Yeah.
All right. Spill the beans bravely.
Yeah.
That's what you gotta do.
Yeah, exactly. No, we just we hung out and talked about all sorts of different hobby stuff, man. Yeah, Monument Hobbies was killing it this weekend or last weekend, I guess. Selling all sorts of paints, man. All their paints, all their Ninja boxes and their Vince Venturella boxes were gone. Like,
which sold faster?
Oh, you know what? I didn't even ask.
That's a very important question. And the other question is, did they make an equal number? So what we're talking about is, I think there are 6 paint sets. Mm-hmm. One's in a little box that says Ninja, and one's in a little box that says Vincent. And so there are 6 new colors in the Pro Acryl line. And they're kind of colors that I think they would have gotten around to eventually. Payne's Gray, Dark Plum. I don't know what they all are, but a lot of them kind of follow the naming formula that Monument's been doing with Pro Acryl. Yeah. And it's like, okay, yeah, they were going to get to that eventually. But my understanding is that Vince is like, no, we need this now. And John was like, no, we need this now. And so the next 2 little 6 paint expansions were named after some fine folks. Yeah. And but yeah, I am curious which one sold out first, or if they even made the same number of boxes. If they're like, yeah, Vince is going to sell like 3 times as many as John, so let's plan ahead.
That is actually a good question. I did not ask. Seem maybe inappropriate at the time.
It's a little rude.
A little rude. Yeah. Yeah. maybe if both of them were there, I would have asked. Yeah, because at least it would have been,
ask ribbing. Socially inappropriate questions. Yeah. Bravely, the podcast.
Exactly. Yeah. Try not to make a fool of yourself in public. We'll get to that.
Bravely, the podcast.
Yeah. So did that. That was really cool. And then like we got back to the hotel and we just kind of walked around a bunch, literally just talking to people as we passed by people. And then like I went to go get a drink at the bar and I almost passed out, just kind of out of nowhere. So yeah, taking a dark turn now. I don't know. I was leaning up against the bar for a while and then I like kind of stood up with my drink and got like lightheaded, and I didn't fall over completely. But what I did was scare the holy crap out of John and Scott, and myself, to be honest. Then I was like, I think I'm gonna go to bed. So I did.
I'm glad you're okay, Casey.
Yeah, I'm glad you're okay. I was like immediately fine after that, and yeah, but freaked me out a little bit. Probably.
No, that is
issues.
Scary stuff. You probably yeah. You ruined John and Scott's night.
Oh, I definitely didn't ruin their night.
No,
and I'm gonna say it right here. John was man, inches away from just tattooing his body in Las Vegas. You know what I mean? Yeah, it was a good night for them. They did just fine. But yeah, it's really cool to hang out with them, just kind of catch up a little bit. Yeah, we're gonna see them in Adepticon pretty soon. But yeah, I got to talk to a lot of cool hobby people. I didn't get to see a lot of people though, weirdly. Like I had plans.
That you knew were there?
Yeah, like I didn't see Duncan at all. Didn't get to say hi to Kenny. He was there. He's posting pictures constantly. He was playing games though, so it's kind of a whole thing.
You could have gotten a selfie with Kenny.
I know, and I didn't. I literally didn't even go into the gaming area. Like I saw it from outside, but the hotel is the Rio in Vegas, and it's pretty big. So like their convention area is just humongous, and it's all closed off. Right, like big rooms closed off, then painting rooms kind of in a separate area. So yeah, I just wasn't over there very much.
Well, shout out to Kenny Boucher at Next Level Painting.
Yeah. Hey, Kenny.
Hey, Kenny. Yeah. We'll see you next time. We'll get you next time.
Yeah.
All right.
Adepticon, I'm sure. Yeah. And then I meant to meet up and hang out with the Warpfire Minis guys, and like they were playing games too, and like I was out super late, and and then basically went to sleep, and just missed them. And like by the time they're like, hey, we're like done doing stuff, we're gonna go wander around and hang out, and I'm like, dude, I'm at the airport. Yeah, it was kind of a bummer. I felt kind of bad.
go to conventions for more than one day? Bravely the podcast.
I thought about it, but last time I went to LVO was 2020, literally like 2 weeks before COVID. And like it was boring.
Okay.
So boring.
Well, you didn't have as many friends there that time.
That is fair. That is very fair.
You just hung out with Peachy, who was also alone in the corner.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, hey, we always have Vegas, right? We got that one time. I mean, it was fun because Matt and I both went to that. So I was with Matt, but like we were just walking around like constantly going like, I guess we should find something to do now. Like we ended up painting for a long time, and it was like models that we had gotten from different things, and it was fun, but it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. This time it was definitely more of like I went to go talk to people and hang out, and it was that. So I mean, it was a good trip, even for being so short too.
So that's an interesting topic there, little conversation starter. So you can now a little more easily go and make friends at conventions because people know who you are. But
yeah,
what about what's the strategy for people who aren't instantly recognizable? I mean, make friends with strangers.
I mean, honestly, like everybody I talked to except for John and Scott were strangers, and they all seemed like perfectly reasonable people to hang out with. So yeah,
that's been my experience too. Like every rando I've met at a convention has been pretty friendly. There was one time before I was an internet person that I met somebody at a convention who started the conversation with, "Do you like J-pop?" And that was the weirdest interaction I've had. Everything other than
just
that was
right out the gate. Like, do you like J-pop?
It was actually, so it's even worse. This was actually in an airport, like returning from a convention, and I was at a gate, and I was at my gate really early, and so there was just me and one other guy waiting at the gate.
Oh no!
And he just says, "Hey, do you like J-pop?"
He's looking at your long flowing locks, and he's like, "I see this guy over here. Yeah, I know you. I know your type."
I know the type. Yeah.
Yeah. But what was your answer?
But like what? No. What?
No.
He's like, "Oh man, I just got back from this great J-pop convention."
Oh man! So he's just like,
"Oh no,
high on J-pop," and he's like, "Everybody loves J-pop."
Yeah,
of course.
Yeah, he was just trying to keep the high going.
Yeah, he's feeling bad. He's got to ask random strangers in the airport.
Try to spread the gospel.
Yeah.
I mean, at Gen Con, at the Indianapolis airport, there actually is like a couple of tables set aside in the food court of the airport that are like Gen Con tables so people leaving that convention, they can get in one last little board game or card game if they want. They can go sit at the special reserved tables. But
that's pretty neat. I mean,
that's before
there's a lot of people.
It's before you go through security, so it's like if you want to hang out outside of security and play some games with strangers.
Mm-hmm. No, hanging out outside of security. Okay, that's always been a weird pet peeve of mine. Like restaurants in airports before security. Like, what do you? Right. No one's coming here to eat at your friggin' restaurant. Like, just put it behind the gate so I'm not worried about getting through security. Because even if I'm getting off the plane, I can still go to a restaurant before getting out to the place where it's like, oh, now you got to turn back around and take all your clothes off.
Yeah.
Like,
if I'm not at the airport like 5 hours in advance, I'm not going to a restaurant outside of security.
Exactly. It's super weird. And like in Reno, we have a couple, and there's one that's like actually supposed to be like a decent restaurant. And it's just weird to me that there is just a restaurant that somebody was like, yep, I'm going to lease this location and it's going to be good because people are always at the airport. I mean, maybe sure. Like that's a thing.
People always going to the airport. Yeah.
But yeah, it's just so weird to me. Like, I'd just much rather get through security and be in the airport for 3 or 4 hours than like wait and then somehow get in. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to miss my flight. Yeah.
All right. All right, so 3 friends are going to a convention together.
Yeah.
And they're all going to fly into the same airport, and then the 3 of them are going to split an Uber.
Mm.
That restaurant is for the 2 friends who get there first and have to wait for the 3rd friend before they call their Uber.
Go, okay.
The business model makes perfect sense to me. I don't know what the problem
but
is.
if it was on the other side of security where you already were,
I know,
it wouldn't make a difference, right? That just it just doesn't make sense. Like the front door of an airport should be literally you walk in and you're at security. That should just be what it is. There shouldn't be a lobby. Like just be a security checkpoint so that I can be done with it and move on. It just kills me. I don't know, airports in general.
Yeah. But do you have a smooth flight? Spirit Airlines? How'd that go?
Spirit Airlines.
All work out?
On the way there, we were half an hour early. Don't know how. Because I'm pretty sure they plan these things out pretty, specifically. But we had to sit on the runway and wait for the other plane to leave because, we were early. I mean, it's a super short flight anyways. It was a 55-minute flight, so it's nothing. It was super quick. And, from the airport to the hotel is 5 minutes. It's just not a big deal. It's really a bigger part of the reason that I actually ended up going. It's just the flight was $95. So sure, I should go. So good. Yeah.
So good. Yeah. Normally, conventions are a bit more of an investment for people, unless you actually do live in driving distance.
Exactly. Yep. This is the only one that I'm within any sort of relatively close distance to. Everything else is a lot more expensive and, got to do the convention thing. So it is what it is. Just make out on a couple of, close ones, I guess. I do need to apologize because there was one person that came up to me and Scott and John, but it was the 3 of us. And I was a little out of it, kind of just had stumbled over and regaining my composure. And this dude came walking up to say hi to all 3 of us right when that happened. And it was a very awkward exchange. And I could tell that he thought I was being an asshole. And I just wanted to say, I'm sorry, I wasn't being an asshole. I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah, you just fainted. So
a little bit, yeah.
Coming back to the world, you could have asked the person if they had any medical training, huh?
Yeah, there you go. But yeah. So it was
take my arm. Let's go sit down.
Yeah, exactly. Super random and weird, but seems good.
Actually, this is a good idea. This is, what, you just gave me a good idea. I would like to apologize in advance for any awkward meetings or encounters that may occur in the future or that have occurred in the past. I'm sorry. We're sorry. We're sorry.
I mean, I'm sorry for any awkward conversation or weirdness that's happened in person. Most of the time.
We can't help it.
It's true.
Been trying our whole lives just to be normal, just to interact with people in a reasonable way. And we're getting there.
Right, social interaction bravely, the podcast. Yeah. So it was an overall interesting experience. It was fun and weird. And that was my LVO trip. So could have been worse. Didn't die. Yeah.
Didn't die. Very nice.
Oh, I did because Frontline Gaming has their big used store, right? So that was definitely part of the plan is hit the used shop, look for something, because I tend to buy from Frontline Gaming probably once every 3 or 4 months, not even knowing it, not even thinking about it.
Like on eBay?
Yeah, because they got all that stuff on eBay. And of course they had it in person in these big bins and everything. I didn't end up finding anything because I'm pretty sure their eBay prices are just better. They're slightly they're not individually pricing things at the convention. They just put stickers on it that's, this blue dot means it's X amount, and they have a chart. So a lot of the stuff there was like just a little bit more expensive. I didn't find anything that just stood out to me. Of course, I was there like 2 days late too, so who knows how much of it was picked through.
Yeah.
But somebody came into John and Scott's class, and they're like, "Oh, hey guys," not knowing who I was, which is fine. But dude comes in with his buddy, and he has this bag of models. And he's like, somebody just gave me these and I don't want them. And I thought maybe one of you could use them. And it's a Skaven Nurgle Blood Bowl team, like an old one. And immediately, of course, I'm looking like, oh man, like those are sweet. Right? Like either John or Scott is gonna make out good on that. That's cool. And John's like, I don't think I want these. I don't think Scott wants these. But I know the perfect person to give these to. And he just hands them to me. And again, unfortunately, I think the guy was a little disappointed because he didn't know it's like this kind of my thing, right? Like that's what I do. But yeah, so I ended up with a nice bag of Skaven Nurgle Blood Bowl players. Yeah. And a Duchess.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I mean, as always, we're sorry when we disappoint people, intentionally, unintentionally. We're sorry.
Intentionally, I'm not sorry at all.
No, not in that case. No.
Now, if I'm trying to disappoint you, I will, and I will like it.
That's great. So yeah, I mean, I was checking my social medias, and I saw a lot of people having fun at that convention, and yeah. Wish we had something. Well, I guess there are some things on the East Coast. I think the East Coast is actually doing okay. I just need to go to more of them. But
I think that's true. Because LVO has been like the largest gaming one on the West Coast for a while.
Yeah.
Although I think Frontline Gaming is trying to branch out more. Like they were doing a Bay Area open, so San Francisco one that actually looked pretty cool. It might be coming up still. I don't know. But that would be fun because San Francisco is pretty cool. I like San Francisco. Yeah. It's
a long flight, but
for you, yeah.
I think it'll be worth it.
For me, it's a nice 4-hour drive. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was LVO for me. It was good. Mostly good. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you survived. Sorry you fainted. That's a little bit scary, but hey, he getting older, these things happen.
I mean, that's what it feels like, man. I'm, late 30s at this point. Like, things are just going downhill. You know what I mean? I get no sleep.
Enjoy the ride. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Otherwise feeling great, but, yeah, so...
Well, mini painting is a lifelong hobby, and yeah. So I have this saying, as long as your hands and your eyes work like reasonably well, you can be mini painting. But I'm not trying to exclude people who do have disabilities in either of those areas and still are able to mini paint. But really, as long as like half of your body is in order, you can probably mini paint. Like
I feel like you could find a way somehow.
Yeah, get some clamps and mini paint with. If you got one hand, paint with your good hand. If you hold the brush with your teeth, like there are ways. Like people can do extraordinary things. We work through all kinds of situations, and in your case, you faint. Just when you wake up, fix the mistakes you made and keep going.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You get a little bit dizzy, close your eyes for a little while, maybe, get yourself some Major Melon or something, and
that's fair. Yeah.
Come back when you're ready.
Yeah. No, I downed like 2 bottles of water and then felt great. So, yeah. Still took a pretty cold shower and just went to sleep. Yeah.
My My retirement home is going to have a lot of mini painters, I tell you that, though.
It's a good call. Yeah.
We run classes, little events, maybe.
That would be amazing. You just start bringing in minis and setting them up at the tables.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
I mean, it reminds me of, what is it, Happy Gilmore? He's making them make quilts.
Yep.
It's like,
we're behind schedule. Yeah. Like, good news. Like,
you're on the phone with somebody like,
good news. Arts and crafts time has been extended for another 4 hours. Yeah.
Good news. Yeah. Send people out for landscaping duty when they can't paint the eyes quite right. Like, yeah, that's definitely that's a good goal. Get your entire.
We don't actually have to be old to run a retirement home.
Oh yeah, that's a very good point.
Ben Stiller was doing that job when he was 30 years old, right?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah. I can't grow a mustache like that. I mean, I get a pretty good one, but I can't get it all the way down like he's got it. Like, I mean, I guess maybe if I cut it that way, I don't know. That'd be weird. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah. Ben Stiller's had a couple of good roles. The making the old people do arts and crafts time was pretty good.
Yeah.
But also he was in Heavyweights and he was in Dodgeball. And I think Dodgeball he might have had similar facial hair.
He did, yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, what's this podcast about? This is about minis. I got some minis in the mail. I think we both backed the Relic Blade Kickstarter, the Catacombs of Corral.
Yes.
And this is the single player expansion to Relic Blade.
Yeah, the dungeon crawling, like single player and multiplayer, of course, but it has all of it put together. Very excited about it. Sean told us about it a while back, and I've been waiting for it. And you have your copy, and everybody else has their copy. Well, I don't have my copy, Sean.
Malev will take care of that. As soon as he listens to this podcast, he'll check the records and get that squared away. So I've got my rule book. I haven't read it, but like I've been looking at the pictures, and man, I love these pictures in the Relic Blade book here. But
the Relic Blade books are good. Yeah. A lot of good stuff going on.
So good.
Yeah.
So good. That Sean with his little art style there. So good.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Got my battle pigs, but I don't have my Catacombs of whatever it's called. Yeah.
I also got in the mail, what I've been flipping through here is from Black Site Studios, which is, don't hold me to this, but they're a company that, among other things, makes MDF terrain, and at least a couple of their kits are designed specifically to work with Relic Blade. So Metal King Studio that makes Relic Blade and Black Site Studios are pals, right?
That's fair.
I don't know. Seems like they have a healthy business relationship.
Yeah, they do the official Relic Blade terrain and like big mouse pads, right? Like boards, I guess. Yeah, no, man, that terrain though, the like big set for Relic Blade that they sell is so good. Like
it looks so
good.
Looks
so like the MDF's all like pre-painted and nice looking. It's not just like crap MDF put together. Pretty sure.
Is it pre-painted?
I'm pretty sure. Oh, I hope it is.
Oh, I thought I was just looking at like Malev like painted up a set of Relic Blade.
I thought it was all just like ink jetted on there or something. I don't know.
That actually sounds pretty cool. All right.
I could be wrong.
Anyway.
Maybe don't quote me on that. But either way, I've had that, like, I've gone to that site probably 4 or 5 times. Like I'll get some extra money or something. I'll sell a model. And I'll be like, man, that terrain's looking pretty good right now. And I seriously put it in the cart and I sit. And it's like, it's a decent amount of money, right? It's 130 or 40 bucks or something. It could be worse. But, like, it's just terrain. And I don't usually need, like, I have a lot of terrain already. I can fill out a huge board. It's fine. But, like, this stuff looks so good. And every time
where are you going to put your battle pigs?
Well, yeah, exactly. I do need a place to put them. Like a permanent setup would be nice. Like a little coffee table just with a Relic Blade thing on it and have all the minis and stuff. That's what I need right here. I need one of those coffee tables. I've been looking at that too, okay? Like legitimately, there's like game coffee tables you can buy that have a top that lifts up so that you can sit and it's just right there. Yeah. So I've been kind of thinking about something like that. So having like a permanent terrain set for my coffee table would be... See, now I feel like I'm going to go to that website and put that in my cart and not buy it again. That'll make me feel good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that'll be good. That'll be good. Anyway, where I was going with this is Blacksite Studios is now selling a little skirmish game here. Yafsiga.
Ooh, that's a nice looking book.
Yafsiga. Yeah. And,
spiffy.
Yeah. Malev was being all sneaky. Malev Flow Shinobi, follow him on Twitch. And he got Blacksite Studio to send me over a rule book and a couple of models here. And, very different art style from Sean, but some pretty stuff in here. I haven't read a word of this, but I flipped through and looked at some pictures.
That's a thick
It is a dire skirmish game at a dwindling age, and I saw some kind of like medieval, but also some maybe Japanese inspired, a little bit of Roman even too in there.
Okay.
But I don't know. Well, I'm gonna look into this.
Yeah,
I'm look into this. That's for sure. So
that's cool. It's
not bad at all. I don't know. I guess that's what's new with me.
Okay. Well, that's good.
Yeah, flipping through Yafsiga. What do you want from me? I didn't go anywhere this week.
No, that's fair. You're going somewhere next week, so plan on listening for that because whatever you're going to be doing in Denmark, I'm sure is going to be fascinating.
Yeah, why would somebody go to Denmark? It doesn't even make sense.
I mean, I can think of one good reason that most people could guess, but I'm not going to say.
Yeah, Copenhagen. Get some Danishes. That's
just flying there for that.
Yeah. As long as I don't call the people living in Denmark the Dutch, I should be good. I mean, I always get those confused.
I mean, maybe just
Netherlands people are the Dutch.
Don't try and
Dutch.
I don't know in what context that would actually come up. So
I've seen some examples of their words in Denmark, and I can't pronounce a single word of Danish. Like I'm just gonna try not to talk to any of those people.
That's kind of what I would do. I would just not even. Don't make eye contact until you get to the wherever to do the whatever thing. Yeah.
Sounds good. That's good advice. What else? The other thing I wanted to talk about today is just a quick little recap on the Magic OGL situation.
Oh, yeah.
Just because, like right after we recorded last time, Wizards and Hasbro backed off of what they were trying to do there. So, yeah, Magic Open Gaming License is the little legal agreement that allows third-party publishers to publish expansion packs to D&D that use the core rules, and nice little symbiotic relationship that's been going on for 20-something years now between third-party publishers and the big boy of Dungeons and Dragons, currently stewarded by Wizards of the Coast and Hasbro. Anyway, the month back, Wizards tried to pull a fast one and change that agreement, which caused a lot of stress for third-party publishers and caused a lot of anger from the entire community. And it was a nice little soap opera drama there of Wizards trying to wriggle out of the backlash while still making the changes they wanted to make. And they just lost every exchange.
Yeah.
It
did not go well.
The community was united. Yeah.
Like how many books of Pathfinder sold in that
oh my goodness.
Every store sold out across the country. Yeah.
Overall, I think the situation was a good thing for the gaming community because gamers realized that they don't need the big monopoly, that they can get games from other places or just straight from their imagination. You don't Dungeons and Dragons is a free game.
Oh yeah.
Like enough books are out there, enough PDFs are out there. Like nobody ever needs to buy a book again.
Yeah.
Like you and your friend are going to the jousting tournament, and you're coming in from the village, and there's a bridge across the river, and there's a troll on the bridge, and the troll wants you to pay a toll. What do you do?
I'm gonna give him this boy's soul.
Yeah, he's making all kinds of threats, this troll, and I don't know. Little Jimmy wants to try to swim across the river. All right, Jimmy, roll a dice.
Right.
What kind of dice? It doesn't matter. Roll a dice. Let me know how you do. I got an 8 on a D10. Okay, I think you made it across the river. Good job. What, Timmy? What are you gonna do? I'm gonna try to fight the troll. All right. You roll a dice.
Timmy gets stopped.
I rolled a. Yeah. Timmy rolled a 6. Well, that's not very good, Timmy. Yeah, but it was a D6 that I rolled. Okay, all right. That's all right, Timmy. Like, you don't need rules to play an RPG. Like, it helps for a framework, but you don't. It's just
yeah.
You're sitting around telling a story together, and and the third party publishers are adding so much more to the community than the central rule set is, and it was really cool to see an entire community come together. And the amount of YouTube content, for example, like every content creator in the D&D sphere was defending the game and the community that they love, and fighting back against the monopolistic company, and it was really cool to see. Because so where this is going is that, like, right after we recorded last time, Wizards backed off, said we're not going to change the open game license at least for 5th edition D&D. And they actually even put the standard rules document for 5th edition D&D up as a Creative Commons license. So they they went further than just backpedaling, which is...
Well, they're going to have to do something.
Yeah, they needed to make some sign of contrition, and I still don't think it was enough, because like you said, Pathfinder sold a lot of books. A lot of books. I mean, all their books. The Pathfinder sold all their books.
Oh, man. It is good. Overall, I think getting away from, like, the big stuff, right? Like, we talk about that in wargaming a lot, like, oh, well, have you played one-page rules? Have you played whatever? I don't know. There's too many even, like, I'm just thinking of right now. But any other wargame other than a Games Workshop wargame, generally just as fun, probably more fun in a lot of cases. Like, Games Workshop just happens to be the biggest. They happen to have all this stuff, and that's fine. Whatever. I play Warhammer. I like Warhammer. But, like, I really like Relic Blade models too. So having that kind of jolt all of a sudden and, like, almost forcing your hand, it definitely opens up a lot more avenues. And I think it's overall going to be better for the future. We're going to have more creativity, people using, mechanics and ideas and meshing all this stuff together, creating even better games down the line, right? Like, who knows? Yeah. I mean, D&D will probably survive. Like,
sure.
They're fine, right? But these other companies might not have in 10, 15 years. So that's going to give some people, like, an actual needed boost. I think it's great. Like, Wizards of the Coast can suck it.
Yep. And no, just a great example of collective action and of a community banding together around the thing that they love. And I mean, we come from the wargaming side of things, and there's a similar situation of one big company and then a whole lot of third-party creators who are not making things that are officially related, but, like, there's a lot of proxies and accessories and stuff like that.
No, not officially related, but definitely
not officially related.
Like a distant third, fourth cousin-ish kind of deal related, Like, yeah.
The Battle Brothers.
Right, yeah. we met once a while back kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a situation where there's a big company that really has a lot of sway over the entire hobby, the that industry. I don't know what the numbers are, but Games Workshop gets like 85% of all of the dollars in all of, miniature tabletop games.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe more. I don't know.
It's hard to say. I would think it's probably more, considering
it might be 90, maybe 90%. It's most of it. It's a lot of it. And because they are, kind of a monopoly, they get away with doing, the stuff that big businesses do. And our expectations for big businesses are not high. But yeah, even then, sometimes they don't quite cross the bar. So
right. Oh, I did want to bring up the fact that because we had talked about this earlier, like a lot of the employees were like doing the leaks, right, from inside of Wizards.
Yep.
Because they were upset as well, and that's definitely something you don't see very often.
Well, that's a sign of serious problems or serious mistakes at the company. The move to try to take back market share from the third-party publishers that were working as symbiotic helpers in growing Dungeons and Dragons. WotC was trying to find a way to make sure that they could grab back some of the dollars from the third-party publishers. And obviously, the third-party publishers weren't cool with that. It was nice to see that like most of the customers, pretty much all of the customers, were not super cool with that. Mm-hmm. And then the icing on the cake was part of the reason why all this blew up was because there was a steady stream of leaks coming from inside the house, from inside Wizards of the Coast. And that just means that like everybody who loves D&D in general, including people who work there and are not supposed to be leaking information, were like,
too important not to.
These terrible ideas are coming from the following two people, who, by the way, are terrible managers and verbally abuse their employees. And here are some examples of that. And like you were getting those leaks from like multiple employees at Wizards. And that is just not the sign of a healthy company. Like that's like serious mistakes are being made there.
Yeah.
And again, we expect big companies to be doing terrible things. That is not a surprise, but it's good to see that if the community decides that they are going to push back on something, that it works. Like, for all of this stuff, like the only reason the companies are big is because the community allows them to be, and sometimes the pushback works. And in miniature wargaming, I don't think Games Workshop has ever screwed up as bad as WotC just did with the open game license.
No, I don't. I don't think so. Not technically.
I think they frequently make smaller screw ups.
Yeah, more frequent, but smaller.
Much more frequent. I mean, much like yearly price increases, a little NDA situation from last year, Cursed City, gaslighting around Cursed City. Like there's
yes.
Like if we were diligent in making a list, there'd be like 20 stupid non-scandals every year from Games Workshop. Like the Tau gun was too powerful.
Yeah, right. Holy crap.
The space dwarves were too powerful. Like okay, like you put that into one like balance issues question mark. Maybe is the line item, but
that's only been like a 30-year ongoing thing anyway, so I don't know why it actually matters. Like, let the people have their fancy dwarves.
That's just
fine.
One item. That's not 20 different actual bad news cycles, or it shouldn't be 20 actual bad news cycles a year.
Right.
But every year there are like a couple of like, okay, this is a medium-sized screw up from Games Workshop that the community shouldn't be super happy about. And unfortunately, it never reaches the level where the entire community agrees to push back against something.
Yeah.
And that's why it was so fascinating for me to see the D&D community push back against Wizards. And it really was like 100% of the community was either in agreement or at least staying silent. In Warhammer, you'll get easily 10% of bootlickers being, well, I gotta make a profit. Yeah, they increased prices by 10% again this year, but you gotta make a profit. Like, or whatever the situation is, you will always find somebody being like, yeah, well, they have stocks, so like, yeah, they have to be terrible to their consumers. Like, what do you expect? And it was just so nice to not see 10% of a community fighting against the rest of the community.
Yeah, for sure.
So there was Games Workshop, I think, did just make one of these medium-sized mistakes. And I haven't seen a lot of people talk about it yet.
I mean,
do you want to introduce it, Casey?
I hope we're talking about the same thing.
Yeah, well, maybe they may too.
That'd be
I
weird.
don't know.
So what was it? Was it the masterclass? I'm pretty sure. Okay, yeah. So the last masterclass video that went up on Warhammer Plus, not super different from any other masterclass, other than I don't know who taught it or painted the model or anything about them. It just showed hands. There was nobody in that video.
Their voice was there. The voice sounded familiar.
Oh yeah.
Like I feel like I've heard that voice before. For the last year and a half of masterclass videos, the little like paragraph blurb next to the thumbnail of the video says who the presenter is.
Yeah.
There, over the last like 50 masterclass videos, I think they forgot to put the presenter's name in like 3 of the first 50 masterclass videos.
Sure.
But for the last 3, they didn't have a presenter name. Like all in a row, the last 3 masterclass videos, they didn't have the name of the presenter in the little thumbnail blurb. And for all of the masterclass videos, we got a face shot of who the presenter was, telling the audience what the video was about. We got to see the cool set design behind them and everything, the little masterclass set. But yeah, the last video, there was no face. The voice reminded me of Louise Sugden, who at least like used to work there.
Yeah, we don't know.
Yeah, like I've definitely seen videos that were Louise before. Like the voice sounded like videos that had been specifically credited to Louise before.
Hands look similar too, so
I think it actually could have been Louise. I think she still works there. I think she does still work there.
I would think so.
And she was the original masterclass host, and she's actually the reason, maybe not the reason why people signed up for Warhammer Plus in the first place, but I think she is the reason.
Maybe a good percentage of
some
the
of
people.
Them, yeah. I think she's the reason why a lot of people stayed subscribed. Like, straight up, I stayed subscribed for the second year because I wanted to support. I thought that was the best part of Warhammer Plus. Mm-hmm. That specifically, Luis was the best part of Warhammer Plus, like the entire platform.
That is fair.
So yeah, it was hard to tell in the last video. No face, no nameplate. So yeah, it just seemed weird. And so, this was the first time I noticed this on Masterclass on Warhammer Plus, but actually for the last couple of weeks, the painting presenters on the Warhammer YouTube channel also have not been credited by name. Actually, they have not been credited by name for a while now. Right. But they also did not have face shots. So I've been able to figure out that Lizzie normally goes with clear or light colored nail polish. Emma normally goes with like a dark black or dark purple nail polish. And so I think you can do it that way. Emma also has arm tattoos, so depending on the shot, you can kind of see those. But I've got a hypothesis, Casey, that Warhammer or Games Workshop, in their normal fashion of not crediting artists, is like ratcheting further, and it seems like they keep ratchet, crank.
Yeah.
At first, no artist names on codices, and I don't even know what the order was. But then, like, we get to Warhammer Plus, and there's like animated shows where, like, one voice actor is credited, and like the composer of the music,
people they hired out for, yeah.
Right, like the people who would not sign a contract for to be completely uncredited, but
of course, yeah. Seems seeing a pattern here, though, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, last year, like the magic cards that had the Warhammer 40K magic cards, the commander decks. Some of the artworks on the magic cards, which Magic normally does a pretty dang good job of crediting the art on every card.
Part of why
like
people like Magic. Yeah.
Yeah. Like the physical card underneath the art on the card will have the name or the pen name, professional name of the artist. Yes. And except for the Warhammer cards, it just said Games Workshop, art by Games Workshop. And including pieces of art that are like absolute classics, like I almost said the Iron Throne, the Golden Throne, the throne of the Emperor. There, it just says by Games Workshop. Like, I'm pretty sure that's now brain fart, but like John Blanche, right? I think that's the person who made that art, but it's like well known who drew that picture of a chair,
because it used to have their names in all the codexes and all the battle tomes or whatever, all that stuff. That honestly, like growing up, like when I started in on Warhammer, which again was only for a couple of years, it was like I would open up and it would be like, oh, this is so and so's Eldar army, right, in my Eldar codex, and be like, wow, like, there's the dude, there's a picture of him, here's his army, and it's in this book, and it's like, this is how you could potentially paint this, right? This is the person that did that.
Yep.
That was always great.
Yeah.
And they've just slowly, like, hamstrung their staff for the last 30 years, and to the point now where I suppose they don't want another Duncan Peachy situation, but, like, okay, there are probably other ways to not have that happen.
Right. There are always, conspiracy theories and urban legends, and just theories in general. Yeah, the word theories in general of like, why would Games Workshop do this? Why does a business make the choices they do? And some of the theories that float around like sound reasonable. Some of the theories that float around like no, I don't even know why it's getting repeated. But I would actually believe, that Duncan and then Peachy leaving Games Workshop, I'd believe that hypothesis that those two departures had something to do with deciding not to show the faces of painting presenters, to not make them popular enough to be able to get another job in the future. Like, I think I would believe that theory, that they are trying to kneecap their own presenters so that they don't build a following of people who, show loyalty to them, to make it harder for those people to leave and, for example, start a YouTube channel.
I mean, they did it with Darren Latham.
Yeah. The day that Darren Latham's YouTube channel was was fully taken down was the day that Warhammer Plus launched in 2021.
Coincidence?
Like they made him stop posting videos, 6 months before that or so.
Yeah.
Basically when they knew, presumably when they knew that they were going to make Warhammer
At
Plus.
least okay, just because.
Again, these are theories. These are theories, but they're ones that have been floating around my brain and like seem reasonable.
Right.
But,
conspiracy theories always have that little bit, like it's connecting dots, right? And that's why so many people are just in on them, because it makes so much sense, right?
Yeah.
The universe is too big not to have aliens.
Oh, there's definitely aliens out there.
Oh, I definitely think that. Yeah. No, 100%.
Yeah.
Probably not on the moon or, whatever.
Not on the moon. No, not on the moon.
Probably not. No, but
we checked.
I mean, we did check. Although, maybe we didn't.
Maybe we didn't. Yeah.
Although, I watched that Big Bang Theory episode where they did the thing with the laser to prove it. Apparently that's a real thing, so I think we did. But maybe that's fake too.
Okay.
I don't know. Anyways, Warhammer Plus.
Continue, Casey. You got the thread there? You got it?
Yeah, honestly, I don't understand for a second why that makes any damn sense to them. Like you're just taking away the reason to want to engage in content like that, or to even care about content like that. It's like, it's great. Cool. Like they paint really well, right? All of the painters they've ever had, like, paint really well. And a lot of people, quote unquote, grew up on, Duncan, Too Thin Coats, right?
Sure.
Like starting Warhammer and learning how to paint. That's how a lot of people got into it. But like at this point in the game, there are alternatives. And it seems to be a little weird to take this thing that is still a huge channel, right? Like Warhammer, just their YouTube. You want to include the Warhammer Plus stuff too? Sure. And to take away the actual personality? That's insane to me. Like, come on.
Yeah. So, this is an interesting topic. Like, for the viewer, I don't know how much of a difference it makes having a face and a name versus just having the talented hands and the cheerful British voice. Like, I think the experience is almost as good. Like, there's definitely, you are lacking some personal connection there.
I mean, at least they let him talk.
If you just want to learn how to speak, but in the case of Luis, like you see, posts on Reddit and stuff like that of, I took my daughter to Warhammer World and she saw Luis there, and my 9-year-old daughter got super excited. Yeah. And like, there's some serious power there that, for the future, that goes away if you are no longer showing the female presenters on Warhammer YouTube channel and Warhammer Plus. Like, there's damage being done there, in addition to just the little less relatability of the videos. Right.
Nobody's thinking of the children. So,
you gotta think of the children.
Like, you are making a really good point about that, though. Like, if it's going to be about strictly, this is how you apply color to a model, then it better be like, step 1, get out your blue paint. Paint those pants blue. Step 2, paint that shirt. You know what I mean? Like make it an instructional thing, not a like fun thing. Whatever, like camera angles and getting in there and talking about technique and whatever, like an actual class, right? Like, make it an instruction manual that you can package with a QR code on your thing, on your box, right? If that's the way you're going to go. Because there isn't really a middle ground. If you're taking away personality and you're taking away the faces of the people that are behind this company, first of all, people are going to see that company in a worse light in the long term because it's just a faceless corporation, right? That's what we talk about, even though we know for a fact that people in Wizards of the Coast, people in Games Workshop are good people. They want to be there because they love the thing that they're doing, right?
Right.
So now you're cutting off that interaction, even if they're still talking, whatever. You're still taking that away. The kid who's now connecting with that person through essentially what is the new way that kids watch media these days, like through YouTube and TikTok and whatever the hell you want to look at, that's connecting with a person and what they're about and that kind of thing. Like, you're going to only reserve this hobby for people who are already in it. Like, you're just cutting it off the legs. How are you going to get new people into it?
Yeah, you're losing some personal connection there, and I don't know. Like, I'm torn on this issue. Like, I think in some ways the videos are like, they're just as useful in terms of learning how to paint.
Sure.
Like, you don't need to show a face to convey the idea of how to put paint on the brush and then put it on the model. So like, I could entertain an argument like, yeah, the tutorial videos are just as fine now as they've ever been.
Well, I'm sure they're still trying just as hard to make them as they were before.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's the same people there, still painting very well, trying to film very well, trying to make good content. And so my concern is twofold. One, just the broader trend of not crediting artists is awful. Yeah. And like, we've talked about how like bad Wizards of the Coast has been recently, but they still put the artists' names on their Magic cards. Yeah. And except for when they worked with Games Workshop. Like,
I wonder who made that decision.
Right.
Or they asked
Wizards just like, hey, let's try something new this time. Yeah. Like, no.
Oh man.
And then the other thing that gives me feel bads about this is for the handful of presenters at Games Workshop who have basically been demoted.
Right.
Like, a month ago, they were the face of the company. They were, sharing the hobby with people, and people were getting to know them. And the comparison to Duncan makes sense. Like, I bet a lot of people at Games Workshop like have the dream of being Duncan someday, of being the face for this company and this hobby that they love, probably most of the time, some of the time. And now basically the handful of presenters at GW have been demoted.
Yeah.
They went from face of the company to hands, uncredited hands.
Right.
Face of the company straight to cogs of the company. And yeah, it's just that feels bad. I think most of the damage of that move was to those individuals who, again, some of them are definitely like most valuable employees at that company. Like when Duncan was there, Duncan straight up was the most valuable person at that company. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, you maybe make an argument for a handful of others, but you could make a very, very good argument for Duncan. But when but they were unable to retain Duncan, and I have no idea what happened behind the scenes there. But like, a good HR department will find ways to retain talent, to retain valuable employees. Yeah. And in this case, we're talking about 5 or 6 painting presenters who have gone from faces to faceless in the last month. And I think they're all more valuable than the average Games Workshop employee, but I think Luis in particular makes that company a lot of money and has the potential to keep making that company a lot of money in the future. But they just demoted their most valuable employee, like straight up, that's what it was. And that sucks. It's a bad business move that we can talk about for fun, but there are also real people who are having a really bad month, and
I
sucks.
would think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that just, I don't know. I guess I just feel bad, for those people, because they are in a position to connect with an audience. I mean, that's the whole point, right? Like, or why are you even filming it in the first place? Unless, like I said, it's strictly for instructional purposes in like the driest sense, right? Like, I'm reading this manual and I would like to know more. But then why not just do that? Like, you positioned yourself to be this thing, and now you're changing it. Like, that's not how like running any kind of business works. Like, you need to make a strategic decision, not just because you don't want somebody to like somehow become better at life or do something bigger than your company.
Yeah.
Like, even if all of those presenters leave and end up being like awesome painters on YouTube and doing all this stuff and having a career, like, there are other painters. It can be a track for people, right? Like, I don't know. It just seems crazy to me.
It's so backward. Yeah. Okay. So in 2021, what was it, like September 2021 that Warhammer Plus launched?
Something like that.
They built a set for Warhammer Masterclass.
Right.
And it's a very nice set. It's beautiful.
Yeah. It's nicer than my set.
And the purpose of that set is a background for when you film the face of the person who's presenting.
Sitting at a desk, facing forward.
I mean, I guess you could say, like, hey, Luis, get out of the chair, go to the other room. We're going to film the empty set for a second here to get a little bit of B-roll before we cut back to your hands.
I wonder, maybe I should try just filming my hands. I wonder how that's going to go. Just sit back a little.
Lean way back.
Man.
Luis, can you hide under the table for a minute? We're going to get some B-roll of the set.
Yeah, the set looks good.
You can keep your hands on the table if you want.
Just hold that. See, I'd love to see that shot. Like, just taking the piss, right? It's her under the table with her hands above, like, just just a little. Just give me a quick shot. Just one of those.
So, a little other tidbit. Normally the presenters will give each other like shout outs on social media, like great video today from so and so. I've been seeing it a lot more in the last month. Like one presenter's like, hey, check out this video from so and so. Hey, check out this video made by so and so. Hey, so and so made a great video. I've been seeing those presenters do that a lot more on social media. Yeah, which is a perfectly reasonable thing to do in general. That's it makes good business sense, and it's polite and it's kind. But also in this case, it is the only way that they're getting credited for their work, which they were automatically being credited for last year. Right. So, yeah. And again, I'm working under the theory that this is the change between 2021 when they built the Masterclass studio and now, like, the major event was that Peachy left. Like, that's all that happened in 2022 is like Peachy left. And so now there's changes being made to whether or not presenters are on camera. Yeah. And, Peachy is making Games Workshop more money now than he was making when he was working for them. Yeah. And he is not being paid by Games Workshop now. So, like, this has been a good development.
Right, so again, what's the problem? What is the issue?
What's the problem? Like Duncan has always made, or at least for the last 10 years, Duncan has made Games Workshop a lot of money. I would say that in the last 2.5 years, or however long it's been since Duncan left, he has made more money for Games Workshop than he ever made while he was working for them. And he is providing an entirely new on-ramp into the hobby by running an independent media site He is providing people with a new way to get interested in Warhammer. He is doing it entirely for free for Games Workshop. And, stop typing. I know Duncan has released a line of paints, but what do you think people are putting those paints on?
What do you think Duncan is putting those paints on?
Right.
Right? Like, he paints a lot of Warhammer. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think you could even make, I don't know, I'd be interested in hearing the argument that, the existence of Too Thin Coats paint may have even increased sale of Citadel paint. Like, the whole interaction of a Burger King makes more money if it's sitting right next to a McDonald's.
Right.
Like more people painting, more people thinking about paint, more people going into hobby stores to buy models and paints and stuff. I'm not sure that the existence of Too Thin Coats has reduced the sales for Citadel paints. I'm not convinced on that
it
at
has
all.
Because okay, I just went out and purchased all of Pro Acryl, and then last time I was at the store, I bought a bunch of Scale 75. It doesn't matter. Like, if I run out of a Citadel paint that I actually like and use often, I'm gonna go buy another pot.
Yeah.
Like,
the day will come when I buy another bottle of Moot Green. The day will come when I need more Incubi Darkness. Yeah, like,
to that Incubi, I actually need some more Incubi Darkness. I'm running low. Man, that's
see,
it's so good. It's such a good color. It just is. It's just the proper shade of teal, like dark teal.
Yeah,
yeah.
But even if the Warhammer presenters end up leaving the employment of Games Workshop, they will still find a way to make money for Games Workshop. Mm-hmm. And in their future endeavors, Games Workshop won't have to pay them for that. Like, Games Workshop no longer pays Duncan, no longer pays Peachy, but those two are still making so much money for that company. So the alumni from Warhammer presenters are still very effective for that company. And that's in the situation where the HR department is not able to retain that talent. Like, if they maybe found a different strategy to try to get their valuable employees to stay around, like, I don't think they're paying them that much. You can increase that small amount that you pay them by 10% every year, and like, you can still not pay them very much, and they'll stay around, and they'll keep vastly bringing in more money than it costs to keep them. So
in the case of, like, just Duncan, right? We'll just go back that far. How many subscribers does the Warhammer channel have? Like 450,000?
I think it's getting close to 600,000.
Even better. Okay.
It's a good number.
Yeah, good number. Their videos get a lot of views. Like, less
mostly old Duncan videos.
I know. Less these days, but that's why I'm using them as an example. Okay. Even 6 years ago, right? 5 years ago, YouTube was still paying really well for ad revenue. It's a good amount. And with the kinds of views that especially those Duncan videos were getting, it's like, that's free money for Games Workshop, right? Because it's all under their banner. Yeah. That they could have easily been like, well, we'll just give you the ad revenue for YouTube. More incentive to do a better job, to put out more content, to along with the whatever. Like, I don't know how all that went down, but like, there were definitely ways, right? Like, viable options to keep someone around. I mean, we don't know
for sure
the whole story, of course, but it does seem like in any case, like, there is some way to pay people the right amount of money to not want to start a YouTube channel as a better option to working for a company that's been around for 40 years.
Not want to start a YouTube channel as a better option than being the face of the most important hobby company in tabletop
exactly.
working. Yeah.
There has to be a better option.
There has to be another way to retain these employees. Yeah. I mean, you've been a manager before. Like, it can be relatively straightforward to make people feel like they're valued in their workplace. Like,
yeah, like you go out of your way to do things to help them have a better day at work.
Right.
Like, they want to stay there. They're making good money. They're doing the thing they want to do. Like, everybody wins, right? Yeah. So you got to wonder. You just have to wonder.
So if it is the case that they stopped putting faces on their videos because they don't want to create personalities who then have enough momentum to leave if they want to. Like, the idea of retaining employees by hurting their future job prospects or by hurting their professional development is like,
yeah.
And again,
there's a book out there somewhere.
There are always theories floating around, and I am just going with this theory because I'm pretty sure it's correct.
I mean, it's like, is it the most likely thing? Like, yeah. Just look historically.
It makes a lot of sense based on like the timing of various departures and stuff like that. But
yes, it does.
Yeah. Duncan left, so what they did was they hired like 4 or 5 new presenters to diversify. Peachy left, so they stopped putting faces in the videos. Like,
so
again,
what's
coming out of nowhere, but like it tracks. But yeah, again, the Warhammer community will find ways to defend Games Workshop, or like, at least 10% of the Warhammer community will always say like, you gotta stunt your employee growth so that they can't leave you, which is not what a good manager does, which is not what a good employer does, which is, it doesn't make sense, like doesn't make business sense, but it's the kind of small-minded thinking that I could see coming from that company.
Yeah.
But dang, man, there's this this habit of not responding to criticism that Games Workshop has, and it is very effective. So anytime they step in a pile of poo or make a mistake or raise prices, they have a strategy of not responding to it. And there's this interesting phenomenon where, us nerds get to talking like, why did this happen? Why did they do this? What do you think's going on behind the scenes? And there's normally like an answer like, it was a cynical business decision made by somebody who's not good at business. Like, that's normally the correct answer. Or it's sometimes it's a cynical business decision made by somebody who is good at business, but doesn't understand what makes the hobby special or something like that.
Right.
But
I do think that's where it mostly falls in. It's like, it's the people in suits who don't actually paint or play or know anything about it, but are in charge of running the business to make their stockholders the most amount of money every year. Right.
Yeah.
That's where I see that go.
Some of the decisions I'm pretty sure are made by somebody who their entire professional experience was that they were like assistant manager at a Warhammer store 23 years ago in, I don't know, Leeds. I don't know, name another British town.
Nottingham.
But anyway, there's this way that us nerds like crowdsource explanations for why GW does what it does, and us nerds end up coming up with better possible explanations than what the real explanation was.
Right. It's the simplest is usually the right one. We tend to overthink things.
Yeah. So Cursed City, for example. Mm-hmm. The launch of Cursed City is botched. There are discrepancies in communication about whether they have plans for actually supporting the game of Cursed City, whether there really will be any expansion sets, all that stuff. The communication was botched at the beginning coming out from Games Workshop. The sets sold out immediately. Games Workshop went into radio silence mode, deleted some of their social media posts that implied that the game would be supported. Like, there was there was something shady going on around that time. Now, the simplest explanation is honestly that somebody misread a memo. Like, between two departments at Games Workshop, somebody misread a memo. One team was hyping it up as something it wasn't. Something like that. Like the simplest explanation is some sort of internal mess up.
Yeah.
Now, but Games Workshop stays silent about what actually happened, and so the community starts crowdsourcing explanations, which turns into crowdsourcing excuses. And so within a couple of weeks, the community is like, nah, COVID, the cardboard is too expensive to make.
Right.
And also there was a legal dispute coming out of Bethesda because this one word is used by the Nords in Skyrim.
Oh my goodness.
And I think the community kind of settled on like COVID, cardboard, China, and the evergreen boat.
Man, I totally forgot about those very specific reasons why. I totally forgot about that. That's insane to me.
But like, there's this theory crafting and spinning, and again, Games Workshop just silent about whatever it is they messed up to cause, the miscommunication and the gaslighting behind the release of Cursed City. But the community fabricates explanations which turn into excuses, and there's a subset of the community that will pick the one that ascribes no blame to Games Workshop. So the one that ended up kind of being the winner was COVID, China, cardboard manufacturing, not their fault. What do you want them to do? All the cardboard is stuck in the canal, and
the canal with the one guy trying to dig it out. So of course,
and like like to the point where if anyone mentions Cursed City, like people will be like, "Oh, what are you talking about? Like, what's the problem? Like the cardboard was stuck on the boat in the canal," and it's like, well. Okay, that was. I mean, we all have our theories, but like, there's no reason why this one should be crowned correct. But they have this system of public relations where, like, 10% of the community will find an excuse that defends Games Workshop at any cost, and that will become like the excuse.
Yeah.
And the reason I went off on this tangent is because for the fact that Games Workshop has basically entirely stopped crediting the creative people who work for them, the crowdsourced excuse is, people were very angry about a Space Marine Codex 10 or 15 years ago and were being extremely malicious to the listed author of that codex, and that's why Games Workshop didn't put John Blanche's name on a Magic card,
even though we all knew.
And it's one of those things like that idea, like the Matt Ward excuse. Like, why doesn't Games Workshop credit their artists? Because people were mean to Matt Ward, and even like we heard on the painting phase, like that concept has definitely been talked about behind closed doors at Games Workshop. Like that excuse is floating around, but I don't think we've ever seen any explanation coming officially from Games Workshop.
Right.
And like,
not officially.
Sometimes for these theories, no, like you just hear it repeated and repeated and repeated, and sometimes you just have to be like, does that make sense? Like, I mean, like, is that logical? Like, is Matt Ward the reason why in 2021 they built a studio for Warhammer Plus Masterclass, and in 2023 they stopped using that studio was because people were mean to Matt Ward in 2012? And yes, I know people were very mean to Matt Ward in whatever year that was, but no, that's not why. And again, for the safety of creatives, pen names have been an option for hundreds of years. Throughout the amount of time that humans have been making art and putting their names on it, there has always been the option of having a professional name, a screen name, a pen name, a pseudonym, to protect your personal information while still, you know, putting your stamp on the thing you worked hard on and the thing you put your talent into. And that has always been an option for artists.
Yeah.
So like, yeah. And I mean, for example, like I choose not to put my last name in most of my YouTube videos. I kind of go by almost the pseudonym like Goobertown Brent. And I mean, you can find my last name if you want. It is not hard, but you can add, I could add as much or as little separation between my, you know, creative persona and my, you know, personal life as I want to. Like you know, nobody knows who the craftsman is.
Right.
Like the craftsman is a funny little puppet and hands that wear gloves, you know, and Louisiana voice.
Well, now that you mention it, though, I mean,
do you know who the craftsman is?
No, I don't. But
you let me know.
I know I would too. I would. No, I'm just thinking, like, why not go that route for Warhammer Plus?
Yeah, you wear a mask.
Yeah. Just wear a Space Marine helmet.
Yeah,
it's all good.
But yeah. So another like theory that's going around is, oh, maybe all of the artists at Games Workshop decided they didn't want to be credited. Every single one of them. Like, no, that doesn't make sense. Yeah. It's been a ratcheting back, and people who used to be credited are now no longer are.
Yeah, within a few weeks, mind you, not like
yeah. But yeah, just this idea of the ratcheting back on crediting artists is to protect the artists. Like it does not stand up to a sniff test at all. It doesn't make logical sense, but it sounds like a corporate defense of a terrible business decision. Like when Wizards of the Coast was trying to revoke the OGL version 1.0, they had a couple of press releases that contained obvious lies, and the community was like,
"You're like, what?"
Was like, no, that wasn't a draft of the thing you were trying to change the OGL to. That was
the new version.
You were trying to get people to sign that. That was not a draft that you were putting out for feedback. You were trying to get people to sign that. So right there, when you say you were putting it out for feedback, that's a lie, because it's obviously a lie, or
the people who got the thing were like, no, they asked me to sign this, like, and I didn't.
And so yeah, that explanation of Games Workshop doesn't credit any of their creatives because people were mean to Matt Ward, like,
but they've never said that either,
lying.
Right?
I don't know where that originated, and Peachy did say that, like, that excuse or rationale was floating around inside Games Workshop, and definitely heard people repeating it. And yeah, I can imagine that it was. It's that excuse is floating around everywhere. Yeah. That doesn't make it true. And like the most convenient pretextual excuse that makes the company look in the best light possible isn't always true. Yeah. So,
speaking of Peachy, and
that's a good little rant on that.
I know, right?
How's Peachy doing?
Yeah, he seems to be doing good. Channel's doing good, but because we brought up Curse City, on the Painting Face, they do have it's an hour and 26-minute video podcast. I'm pretty sure. I haven't actually listened to it yet. That is literally what actually happened to Curse City. I assume he probably answers some questions in that. I haven't listened to it, though.
Okay. I don't think there were super specific answers in there, but there was the implication that it was a bit of a mess.
Okay.
Might have used the word bollocksed up or something.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense.
Anyway, I did just publicly say that I I don't believe the excuse that Peachy mentioned about the Matt Ward situation, but we like Peachy. We think he's a good lad.
Yeah. Yeah.
So don't set this up as some sort of Goobertown versus painting phase BS. Like we're
no.
Yeah. Yeah.
Never. No. No. Honestly, this community's too good for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, the Games Workshop painting tutorials have gone faceless, and so far, like, the community has just kind of been quiet about it. And
yeah, it's been,
I don't know. This is my effort to like remind people that it's going on and go check out those videos, decide for yourself if you think it's right.
Well, that's kind of the point of our little podcast,
Dude,
right?
I actually tried
pretty
to
relevant to painting and connecting.
I tried to unsubscribe from Warhammer Plus the other day, but but I couldn't remember my password. Like
that's how they get you,
My password was saved on like Warhammer TV or wherever you actually watch the videos, but whatever website I have, like My Warhammer, where I had to go to like unsubscribe from the account, like I couldn't remember my password. I hit like send, password reset, and then they just never sent me the email. Freaking assholes. Like,
hopefully it's still
like I hit password reset like 10 times over the course of a couple hours. They just never sent me the email. Man. I don't know.
That's funny.
I've got like 7 months to log in there to make sure I don't get billed for a third year.
I'm still technically paying for it, although I haven't used anything. I haven't logged in. I haven't watched. I haven't even gotten my freaking minis. Like I haven't done that yet. So yeah.
The first year I signed up out of curiosity and I watched the shows, and then the second year I stayed subscribed, like seriously partially just to support Luis, like and like get the minis eventually probably, and support Luis, and maybe they'll put out some good animations. And I did watch Interrogator, like that seemed pretty good. I thought that was like the best show on there.
Okay.
So.
Yeah,
so they've got.
I mean, I watched for the first 2 months. I didn't finish the Blood Angel thing. That's about as far as I've gotten. I mean, mostly it was that there was nothing there, so it was like I guess we have to wait a whole week for another 10 minutes.
I mean, there's still not much more than a weekend worth of content, unless you're watching like all the battle reports. But
which I don't mind battle reports done well. So
okay, keep it on in the background.
Yeah, it's not terrible.
All right.
Then again, there are
what else we got here today?
Plenty of other things. You know what? I have no idea. Man, I'm gearing up to paint an army or something. I'm done with this. The Stompa, the video's out. Yeah, I guess technically because we're recording this early, so the video's out. Hopefully that's not a bust. But I'm planning on working on something like fun and stupid, like just mindless. Paint an army.
Very nice.
But easily. Yeah.
Well, we'll leave that to next time then, huh?
Yeah, that sounds good. And you're off to Denmark?
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll see about that.
Yeah. Well, I hope you have a safe flight. Learn some things about the culture. Don't say anything stupid. And looking forward to hearing about that when you get back.
At some point, maybe.
I mean, unless you're just planning on living there. I don't know.
I'll let you know if I come back. Yeah.
I think I'll figure that out pretty quick.
Yep.
Welcome to Paint Bravely. I podcast bravely this week by myself because Brent might have died. Fuck. He's in Denmark still. Like, I don't know what to do. I mean, the internet still exists in Denmark, so I would assume you'd be able to get onto a call. Yeah. Yeah, you can't avoid it.
All right.
Can't avoid it. Anyways. All right. Thank you again for joining us on another episode of Paint Bravely. If you enjoyed this podcast, please help us out by leaving us a review on iTunes, subscribing to the YouTube channel, and sharing this message with your hobby friends. And as always, we appreciate each and every one of you for listening, and we will talk to you next time.
Talk to you next time.